Hey y'all, this is Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while letting our deep knowledge of meme culture express itself involuntarily.
Gonna love what we love, do it out loud. Stack our shelves with the clinches out. Shout it from the rooftop, can you hear the sound? Yeah. Live your best life, love it out loud. Love it out loud.
Happy Monday, HBs! We're here with Contemporary Spy Times, and it's our first Nana Malone book of the podcast. Before that, though, this Friday on Patreon, Sabrina and I do an extended quickie on the fifth book in the Immortals After Dark series, Dark Needs on Night's Edge. We've got the missing Roth brother, who is a fully feral vampire, and our first Cressley Cole sexy ghost. Look, we loved this book, and we had so much fun in the recap. This week, Nana Malone is serving up some action-packed spy romance with so many tropes we love. Here is part one of our recap of The King, book one in the Gentleman Rogue series by Nana Malone. Here we go. Hello, Sabrina.
Hello. We are cooking with gas this morning, Melody.
We're doing our best is what we're doing. Hey, have I told you that my college roommate would keep a list of hilarious things I said on the wall of our room with Post-its?
Not me looking at my note-taking app. No, you have not told me about that.
What?
Well, I remember I made like miscellaneous notes, like especially when we were doing like Crescent City. I had like a bunch of like random little shit fucking notes. Not that we've ever used any of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we haven't told anybody about them. Yeah, so I would say something ridiculous, you know, as I do. And she is like beautifully neurotypical. You know what I mean? So like Michael is my grounding force now. And in college, she was my grounding force. And so literally, I didn't even notice this happened until I figured out that I have ADHD years later. But I realized that, like, without even thinking about it, she would just start going, like, as I was leaving, she would be like, okay, keys, you have all those things? Yeah. And I would be like, oh, I've got to go get this thing. So, like, she was seriously amazing. And I'm sure I brought something to the friendship, you know? Anyway, so I would say something ridiculous. And then she would write it down.
I don't know that I've ever felt more seen than you saying, I think I brought that. Like, I had to have brought something to the
I must. She
Jesus
kept me
Christ.
around.
I was not prepared for looking at myself with that level of clarity this morning. Oh my God. Okay, continue.
So I was randomly thinking about that this week because when we left college, she framed it and I have it down in my basement, like a bunch of the Post-its around a picture of us. And I bit my lip right on like where my canine is. And you're wondering how these two are connected. I understand.
No, I'm listening.
So I bit my lip right on like my canine. And it's mostly healed, but like the one tiny spot that's left has turned into a canker sore. And so all I want to say to everyone every day right now is I have a yuck. I have an ow. I have a yuck that goes ow. Because apparently one day, that's one of the things that's on the Post-it notes. Because one day I was just trying to explain my lived experience, you know? And what I came up with is, I have a yuck, I have an ow. And then to clarify, I said, I have a yuck that goes ow.
I don't know what I expected. That wasn't it, to be clear.
Fair enough. That's fair.
I also, I don't. Okay. Also, look at me not immediately jumping to confusion, cough, cough, Titanic, and hollering at you out loud, just waiting. Very mindful of me. Very demure.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Let's check that out. Interesting.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I just need you and listener to know that this is my level of dedication to your enjoyment of life. Because I wanted to cancel this. I wanted to not talk until this thing was healed.
Melody, you and I are living a parallel existence because I nicked the inside of my lip the other day accidentally. And because I am who I am, I've been worrying it with my tongue.
Yes.
For days. And it's not as severe as like canker sore levels right now, but like it doesn't feel great, and I can feel it every time I talk, and
it's almost it goes out.
I almost texted you, like, I don't know that I can record. I know we already pushed back, but I don't know that I can record today because my mouth hurt.
I have an ow.
My teeth hurting.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Hey.
Okay. We have patrons. I was about to jump right in, but we have patrons.
We have patrons to shout out. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like endlessly shocked and delighted when people sign up for Patreon. I don't know why, because like people have been signing up for Patreon for years, but I still, every time one comes through, I'm like, whoa!
Oh, I do too. Every time that email comes through, I'm like, happy trilling. Yeah. All right.
Hey, thank you and welcome. We so appreciate you being part of the Patreon. Actually, tonight when this comes out, it will have already happened. But I am wearing a special shirt today because we're having our Magic Mike XXL watch party, and I'm so excited for it.
Have you taken precautions, Melody, so that you don't end up with a third spawn?
I have been vigilant with my birth control. Yes. And I talked to Michael about it. He understands. We're
just for context,
out, it's going to happen.
So listener, just for context. So this has been months in the making. Okay. Of watching Magic Mike XXL. This is because it came up for a couple of reasons as a movie option. One, because it's great, but two, it's turned into like Patreon lore, right? Because Melody has conceived children to this movie.
No, not
to the movie, because of this movie.
Magic Mike XXL got me pregnant.
Magic Mike XXL for me was one of my awakenings to, oh my God, I think I'm not a lesbian. I have Facebook proof of it. I walked out of that theater and I looked at my partner at the time and I was like, I think I might be into men. Oh my God. Yeah. And of course there's, physical attraction is its own thing versus like sexual, romantic, intellectual, et cetera, et cetera. But like, I was like, I have
this
some things
changes things, I think
about. So we're finally doing it. And you're not going to end up with a third, you don't think?
No, we're doing all the things. I'm so good on my birth control. Because the other thing was, I tried to get these bitches to do Magic Mike XXL when Mikey was in Taiwan. And they didn't. They were like, Melody, we want you to roll the dice on your future, is what they did. It's so mean.
All right, who's paying for the next 19 years of...
Yeah. Hey, is it you, Charissa? David? Are you going to? Alexis? Who's stepping up, okay?
I don't know why I thought that was a good time to take a sip.
Chris would step up, don't you think?
I think Chrissy would be a great aunt.
Agreed. Yeah. That's what I mean.
I feel like
we need a village.
I feel like you could ship that kid off for a week or two a year on like summer break.
Yeah. I like that. I like that.
But like little Mikey could go play with David's kitties.
Oh God, little Mikey would love those kittens.
Oh no.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So we're going to shout out some patrons right now. So, hey, thanks and welcome to Anna V and Danny L.
Oh my God. To Taylor W and CJ.
Tejo and Marlene M.
Danielle and Aubrey F.
Mary, CG.
And
and Nina.
Jumping right in to Megan L. and Sextrin. Thank you. We love you. We hope you enjoy the hooligan-ishness.
Yeah. And maybe we saw you at the watch party. Who knows? Okay.
Who knows? It's anybody's ball game. I have to know Melody. Okay, now we're jumping right into book.
We're going to book.
I have to know. Okay, listeners. So we are doing The King by Nana Malone.
Which is part of the Gentleman Rogues series.
It is British spy romance, contemporary.
Yeah.
Did you end up reading The Heir, the prequel to The King?
Absolutely not. No. Okay. Why would I do that? We said we were reading The King, and so I read The King.
Yeah, but it became very clear very fast that the heir, honestly, the heir should have been... I don't know. Okay, I have to know your experience because I did read The Heir because I am who I am. So, just like, how do you feel?
Yeah, so we've got two different perspectives coming in on this because, listener, I feel like we have to say this as we're doing the book, right? Because when we open up our heroine, whose name is... Oh, no. What is her name?
How many times have you listened to this book?
Twice. And like a quarter. You know, I went like through different places to make sure I knew what happened in different... All I can think is Leila because the narrator is Leila Allarie.
By the way, I also listened to the audiobook and I was like, God, this dude is so fucking familiar. It's Pestilence.
He's the vampire. Mm-hmm. Yep. He's the vampire from Pestilence. This is John Hartley. Mm-hmm.
I was listening to it and I was like...
He has such a distinct voice. Yeah,
He does. Yeah. And I was just like, he's also very yummy. Both of them are yummy. They're great
it's completely
narrators.
Yummy. Yeah. Wow. What? Okay, Sabrina, can you just pinch hit for me on this one? What is her name?
Saffron.
Oh, it's Saffron. She goes by Saff for short, listener, okay? And Saffron is trying to escape this Gentleman Rogues compound.
You couldn't remember Saff either. Don't act like, I couldn't.
I just need them to know. I just need them to know how actually familiar I am with her.
She goes by Saff.
Her friends call her Saff, and that's what I call her.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
Okay.
So she's trying to escape this, it's basically like an MI5 training compound called the Gentleman Rogues compound, because it's one of several British black op organizations that are in Nana Malone's universe. So all she's trying to do is go get some goddamn ice cream, okay?
I wouldn't have realized this, by the way, if not for the fact that I keep notes the way I do now. This is the third Lachlan you and I have done in the last month and a half.
Holy shit. Wow, yeah, you're right. That's
because
wild.
There's Lachlan McCreeve from whatchamacallit.
And like no other.
We haven't done this, but we read a book with this character, and the second one is Lachlan Kane from Leather and Lark. But we did Butcher and Blackbird, so we talked to and so I was entering his name in to make his character sheet. Yeah, I'm making character sheets for books now, listener. And I was like, it popped up, Lachlan, there's 8 of them. And I was like, all of these are from nowadays.
Wow. Now times, yeah. We did them recently.
Anyway.
And Leather and Lark is so good. Anyway, so she's just trying to go sneak off campus to get some goddamn ice cream, okay? Because her brother is overprotective and their parents were killed in a fiery airplane bomb 2 years ago. And so since then, he's been hyper vigilant about her safety. And she doesn't want to go to the convenience store with 6 guards. Is that too much to ask? Especially when you're a trained assassin, basically. When you're trained to do you could kill someone with a paperclip. She could.
They're the opposite of assassins, but yes, she is espionage queen.
That's the one. But also she could assassinate anyone. Okay. Anyone.
Could, yes. I feel like there's a big difference between could be assassin and
you're right. And am assassin.
Yeah,
no, you're totally right.
Anyway, continue.
So she's doing a sneak, all right? And she goes by the residences, and all of a sudden, a hand claps over her mouth. And the person has a deep and gravelly voice, and he's like, what are you doing? What are you trying to steal? And she's like, what am I trying to steal? I live here, bro. Like, I run this shit. Because she's also the heir to all of this. She's the one who's going to next step up and, like, be the director of the Gentlemen Rogues. So they do a big tussle, okay? They're grappling on the ground. And then at some point, she starts backing it up like a Mack truck on him as he's like holding her. And both of them.
I can't drink today. Some days I don't have a problem drinking around you. But like, that's twice in like 10 minutes. Continue.
That was part of my vows, by the way. I told Michael that I promised I would never, it was either I promise I will always back it up like a Mack truck, or I will never stop backing it up like a Mack truck, because that's what I call our snuggle position.
Do you beep beep?
You gotta back
when you
it up.
Get into it. Beep, beep,
no,
beep,
are you kidding?
Beep.
You gotta surprise him with it. Kapow! Anyway. So she does that. She gets in like the snuggle position with him, and her butt is all over his crotch. And so he does start getting that boner. And it says that she does it so that she can find her target. And then she wallops him in the balls so hard he sees stars. Oh my God. He's not okay.
He is on the ground with like little birds going around his head, just staring at the sky, questioning all of his life decisions.
Yeah. And then a shaft of light hits his face, and she's like, oh my God, it's you. And he's like, it's me? What does that even mean? Who are you? And she's like, are you serious? You don't remember me?
So I read The Heir, and I'm very curious because I think you and I had very different experiences reading this book because of the fact that I read it and you did not. Because I had no idea what I was walking into. So The Heir is their night together. It's from beginning to end, it's the night together.
Right. That's what I thought it would be.
And it was fantastic, by the way. I highly recommend going back and listening to it, Mel, if you get the chance. It was so fucking good. But I walked into this book, so you had no idea what was coming, right? You're like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. And I was sitting there at the end of The Heir, like, how does that... Because, like, the end of The Heir...
Is her sneaking?
Is her sneaking and him getting black-bagged and kidnapped. Oh. And that the last line is like, and my vision goes out or whatever. And so I was like, what the fuck, Nana Malone? How is this going to become? Like, I thought this was going to be like a Black Ops thing where like they had to go in and save him and then put him under like security protection kind
bodyguard
of thing. And so when I walked into this and it was an amnesia plot, I was like, what? What do you mean an amnesia plot? How the fuck are you going to do this, Nana? What?
Totally.
I was very confused.
So he's like, who are you? And she cannot believe he does not remember her. And she, you know what? She can't believe that she is so forgettable is really the problem. Because from minute one, she's like, oh my God, he forgot. And like, she has no other questions. She's just like, he must sleep with so many women that like, I am forgettable.
Well, and it was torturous because reading The Heir, like at some point in the book, he calls it like a kismet night, right? When he does find out about everything.
In this book too.
No, that's what I'm saying is like, he comments on it in this book about it being, and it is like the whole night is so beautiful and romantic and like sexy and wonderful. And like, he's literally like, I want to keep you. How did I find you? They have the most amazing conversations and all of these things. And then him showing up and like being like, who the fuck are you? I was with Saffron.
I would melt into the ground. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I guess I didn't understand the gravity of it until later on, but I was still very Team Saffron in this one. I was just like, what? What an absolute dick nose. How is Nana Malone going to come back from this? And so they end up like getting separated, and her brother decides to punish her by making her his training officer.
We get some forced proximity.
Okay, so she becomes his training officer, and we find out that he has been there for 3 months, which is wild to me. I'm glad on the second read it was clarified, but I was like, how are they on the same campus for 3 months and they never see each other? That's wild to me. But, you know, she explained it. They're in different sections. She's doing other shit. It's fine.
I totally got that. Yep. This wasn't you answering a question that I had and wasn't going to ask.
So
nice.
Yeah, right? Ooh, look at me. So we find out that he's been there for 3 months, and he is there as a punishment too. His family was like, you're fucking around, and now you're going to find out. You're going to stop being a playboy, and you're going to learn to be something more. You're going to be a better man. And the way we're going to do that is to black bag, tranquilize, kidnap you, put you in the Gentleman Rogues campus, and then turn you into a spy. He has to stay there for 1 year.
The most fucked up part of this, though, is most of the people here are like legacy rogues, right? Their families were part of the rogues program.
Right.
He is taking the place of his dead brother, Charleston.
That's the one. Charlie. Yeah. And he feels like he's responsible for Charlie's death.
Uh-huh.
Because he got in a car accident? Car bomb? Who knows? But the reason that man was in the car is because of something Lachlan needed or wanted, okay? And he feels responsible as a result.
Something like that.
So the nice thing is that when he gets there, he finds out that he didn't know that Charlie was a rogue. I don't know that he knew about the rogues at all.
So he didn't.
Okay.
He didn't, period. Like, that's... Okay. So I was, in many ways, I was very confused because, like, I read the Heir, and he talks about Charlie pretty extensively. He talks about Charlie, she talks about her parents, and they have this, like, moment together, because her parents are dead, and she also blames herself for that, because they came to her graduation, and then...
Big fiery airplane bomb. Yeah.
And we've also been reading a lot of crashed airplanes lately.
Have fun in England. It's a burner.
Great. Oh my God. Did you just call me Subburner? You just fucking throttled me into 2010. Jesus Christ. Holy shit. I feel like I just got slapped in the face with my history. Anyway. So she's confused. He's confused. He has been forced to take the place of his brother, basically. And he doesn't understand why he doesn't. He fully plans to go back to being his media, whatever, fancy man pants.
Playboy self.
Yeah. After this year is up. And meanwhile, she's freaking out because she ghosted him. She walked out in the Heir. They had this incredible, beautiful, fantastic, wonderful, sexy, emotional, awesome, romancy, I cannot possibly express to you. I hope I'm doing a good enough job.
I feel like you are. Yeah.
It was because
it's adding layers to my memory of the read. Yeah.
And like, it's so good. And this was my first Nana Malone.
Ooh.
Have you read a Nana Malone before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had not.
Great.
I saw her at Steamy and I chatted with her and I was like, I will be going down this rabbit hole. And boy, I will, because boy, there are people referenced in this book that are old books. This is why I fucking started at the beginning of that catalog too. But it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, her best friend Tabitha can tell that something's up. And she confesses to Tabs basically like, hey, you remember that guy who gave me like the night of my life on my birthday?
It's him.
It's the guy who had grabbed me last night.
And he doesn't remember me or the night.
Yeah. And Tabitha's like, there's got to be a reason. Based on what you said about that night, that wasn't just a playboy being a playboy. Like, there's something up.
And poor Saffron is like, yeah, it's because I'm forgettable. That's the reason. I have no more questions. Okay.
Also, were you shocked by everyone's age in this book?
I don't think I super clocked everyone's age. Isn't Gabe like 28 or something?
Uh-huh. And they meet
She's
on her
22.
They meet on her 22nd birthday. It's her 22nd birthday night when they have this. He bought her a cake when he takes her home to take care of her. And they eat cake together. It was...
Ugh.
And he's 25. I was just surprised. I don't know why. They're just very young to my brain.
They are very young. But now, as they're doing all of this, like, they're meant to be doing all this training stuff, and she refuses to train him. And he cannot figure out why she hates him so much. He's just like, what did I do to you? Later on in the book, he'll be like, did I sleep with one of your friends, man? And then not call her? Like, that doesn't sound like me. But I'm grasping at straws here.
She tells him yes, too, when he asks.
Yeah, she does.
She's like, you did sleep
dirty.
with one of my friends.
Yeah.
And ghost her.
It's dirty.
Of note.
Yeah.
Because we start getting into this. So she kind of is forced to be in training modes with him, right? So they're doing this like test spy thing, right?
They're doing an assessment.
Yeah. The recruits have to catch her, restrain her, and then get her back to base without quote unquote being killed by her.
Yes.
And I was like, hell yeah, they do.
Oh boy.
And he, like a fucking wolf shifter, literally sniffs her out. And it was killing me because he made such a big deal about her there are so many little things. Like the minute he recognized her perfume, I was like, he knows her.
Oh no.
He knows her. Because like it was such a big thing in the fucking air. Like when he wakes up the next morning and she's gone, he wakes up not remembering
His bed
things super
smells
well.
like her, right?
Yeah, it smells like, and he's like, why does I don't bring people back to this house. That was a rule with me in chart. And then he's like, Saffron, the love of my life. And so like, he's like sniffing her out in the forest. He's like wild hog truffling her.
Yes.
He finds a dude, big ol' asshole, that is like tied up. And he's like, what happened to you? And he's like, well, Saffron got to me. And he's like, we're playing with fire. Let's go. And then she jumps out of a tree and kicks him over and takes off. And he's like, hey, take it easy. We can get a pint. You can explain why you think you recognize me, blah, blah, blah. And then he fucking takes her to the ground.
Yeah.
And he gets so mad because she looks at him and she's like, if you try what Robert tried, I will fucking end you. And he's like,
Robert, what did he try?
Something.
Because I will kill anyone who touches you, essentially. Oh my God. And so he's like, I'm not trying to hurt you or do anything. I'm just checking you for weapons. And she's like, yeah, cool story, bro. And he gets her in like wrist zip ties. And he's like, and now I'm going to peacefully and civilly walk you out of this forest and back to the training grounds. And she's like, the hell you are, and headbutts him to the ground, manages to get out of these zip ties, and then ties him up. Tranks him down. Ooh, she hits him right in that chest. Tranks him down.
There's so much tranking people in this book, and it just made me laugh so fucking
It's really good.
Because like everyone in the Rogues organization is like, well, you were messing around with Saffron. Like, obviously, you're going to get your ass kicked. And literally anybody not in the Rogues organization is like, oh, she'll be easy to handle. And she's like,
look at that little cutie.
Bet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the first chapter, one of the guards looked at him and said, oh, wow, you went at her and you're alive. That's incredible, you know? So, wow, they lose that, and it's bad. And so now it's like everybody who does that, the punishment was you have one more month of training, and everybody is a big sad panda about it.
Because everyone lost.
Yeah, absolutely. She kicked their asses. So now we sort of go from training event to training event. And in between, there's like a little bit of slice of life stuff. We get like dinners with her brother.
And we see a bunch of stuff from his point of view, and he keeps being like looking at her like and literally thinking to himself word for word, I knew for sure I hadn't shagged her. I would never have forgotten that face.
Never.
And my notes, there's so many caps lock things because I was so fucking confused. I was like, how do you just have selective amnesia, bro?
No, right.
So my notes are like, I hate that. Oh my God. God damn it. There's a lot of screaming in my notes.
I love that.
So the next big thing is this training thing where he recognizes her because she's in hiding. And he's supposed to...
She's in a skin suit of a man.
With a voice modulator.
And
he sees her and clocks her within 20 minutes. The fastest ever. And it's because he recognized her eyes and her scent. Because this man is definitely wolf shifter coded.
Yeah, right? Like, what is that about? I ended up getting, like, extra worried about how I smelled all week because I was reading this book. I was just like, why don't I smell like roses and vanilla? And what's that third mystery ingredient that they never tell us? Not a Malone.
I'll bet it's bergamot.
Fucking
it's
tell
always
us.
Fucking
Not a Malone.
bergamot.
Jesus. Well, and when he knows it's her, he's still talking to her as if she's this barkeep. And so he's like, have you ever like met a girl who was just like fit and like beautiful, but you can't seem to get on her good side or whatever? And it's so good when he reveals that he knew he was talking to her.
And then he ends up being the first person to successfully do this little test mission because he actually gets her out. He doesn't get taken down by the quote unquote like pretend bad people, and he like sneaks her around and gets her back, and Gabe is like, Gabe is her brother, and he's also book number 2.
3.
Oh yeah. Well,
Saint is next. I'm almost positive Saint is next. Saint is one of the training boys.
No, I know who Saint is.
And then Gabe, I was telling listener, and then Gabe is book, I guess, 4 at that point.
You're right.
And
so the next one is the Saint, and then the Rook. Book 5 is our big baddie for this book. I cannot wait. Yeah, listener, this is a rabbit hole series. Like this is a rabbit hole author. This was a hell of a book to roll. I don't seek out spy romance. Like I enjoy it.
I enjoy it every time.
I do too. I don't know why I don't like. So I was actually talking to somebody yesterday about it, and I was like, I just don't seek out spy romance the same way that I actively seek out, Omegaverse and aliens and monsters and things like that. But I never don't enjoy a spy romance.
It's always catnip.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because it's got a bunch of tropes that I love, like forced proximity, secret relationship, like all of the
danger,
all of the things. Yeah, I don't know, man. Not a Malone is. Man, I'm glad there's like 125 books in that back catalog, and I got a lot of travel coming up.
Perfect. Yeah, she's prolific and so good. So he ends up winning this challenge, and he is the first person to recognize her in that disguise in 2 years, and 2, he is the winner of that challenge. And so her brother Gabe is like, yeah, I recruited him, and, I'm pretty proud of myself or whatever. And she's been trying to figure out if he is a plant. Like, she cannot imagine a world in which her brother, like, sent someone out into the world to fuck her. But at the same time, she can't figure out why she had this kismet night with this guy, and now he's here. Is it part of a bigger conspiracy?
Well, and it's breaking her heart because she finally realizes, like, he's not pretending. This is not him just fucking around. Right. And she says, fuck, he really doesn't remember me. I didn't know why that knowledge hit so deep, but somehow him not remembering me felt like I'd lost something. Like that part of Lachlan King who had seen me at that club, but seen more than just a girl out to celebrate her birthday. The part of him that talked to me about his brother and my parents, he was gone. What we shared was gone. that memory was gone and forgotten, and it would be better if I forgot too. And my heart broke into 18 million pieces shattered on the concrete floor.
Truly devastating. Yeah. So now they have to go into the real world, right? He gets pulled into Gabe's office, and Gabe's like, did you go to school with this super rich asshole mafia bro? No.
Whoa.
Oh, no. No, she has to go to his room and reward him.
So she finally, now that she has come to the realization he's not just fucking with her, she's like, okay, I'm actually going to train him, because if I don't, he's going to die. And then Tabs gets some info, and they find out that he got double tranked.
Yes.
The night he got taken, which can cause memory loss. And so he's just missing 48 hours. And he's aware he's missing 48 hours, because at some point in the book, he's thinking to himself, maybe I did fuck her.
And maybe she's in those hours.
Happen in those which, like, guess what, Lachlan? You did. And I, like a little creepy creep, was standing in the corner of that apartment watching the entire thing go down. Like a creepy little voyeur.
That makes it so weird.
Every time I talk about romance, I fucking commented on this to the fucking TBR gals the other day. Because they said something, and I was like, I mean, you might not be in that bedroom with them, but I am standing at the foot of that bed.
Oh, no.
That's basically what it is. Like, I'm just watching. Don't mind me. Do your thing. Fine.
Yeah, no, keep going.
So she ends up going to bring him a beer as celebration.
To be like, good job. Also, get ready for me to kick your ass in actual training.
And then they're talking about legacies and all of these things. And then she finds out, because he just found out, that his brother died in an attack. Yeah. It was not an accident. And so he's not actually at fault, which, like, spoiler lock, you were never at fault. You weren't in the first place.
Yeah.
At one point, he makes a comment like, I have the scars to, like, from that experience. Yes. And she makes a comment. She's like, I feel like a voyeur, because I know, though, I have touched those scars.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then he turned to face me. And his gaze locked on mine again.
Yeah.
I feel like I know you. You do know me. I've been training you for 2 weeks now. You know what I mean. I feel like I know you from before I came here. This is easy. Feels good to talk to you. And then he says, you look at me sometimes like you want what I want. And she stands up, and she's like, I should go.
I gotta go.
He stands up with her and takes her hand and says, don't go. And she says, whatever you're thinking might be a good idea, isn't Lachlan? And he says, I like how you say my name, which he said 1 billion times in the air. And I died. Oh. And she's like, I should go. I'm going. And he's like, you said that already. And then she can step around him because she's a badass spy lady.
Of course. She can put him down anytime, and they both know it.
But she can't. And he says to her, I'm not the only one who feels it. Am I? And she says, it's not allowed. Guess what, Saf? That's not a no.
Ooh, that's not a no.
And he says, so I'm told. I just want to know I'm not alone, because I've been obsessively thinking about you since we met. Really have, bud.
They're flashbacks, bud. You didn't know. You don't know that, though.
Yeah. And he's like, I can't get you out of my head. I just want to know that I'm not crazy and that I'm not alone here. You're my trainer. I get it. And you can't say anything. I just wanted to let you know that I feel it. And she says, we can't. I can't. And he says, I know. His voice was a low, groaned whisper, but still he leaned forward. And I leaned up, tilting my face up towards his. I know I shouldn't. You shouldn't. But I can't help it. And as he leaned closer, only a whisper of breath standing between us, I moaned, fuck. I'm going to enjoy this. Ooh, he said that Lachlan. Exactly word for word. This dude has the same fucking playbook. But it's...
Oh my God!
Because he says that like word for word in the air when like they decide to go for it. And he's like about to go for it. And he's like, fuck, I'm going to enjoy this. And like, boy, we all did. Look.
We all did. You know what? That's funny because a lot of times when I'm editing, like I will have no memory of the recording whatsoever, right? Because I do not remember what I say in this booth once I step out.
This is a vortex, and we hit end record. This is why, listeners, we record decently in advance, and like it'll be episode week, and y'all will comment on something. And I will, Facebook or like messages or like Discord. And I'm just like, I said that?
Oh, news to me.
And they're like, yeah, you made a huge deal about it. And I'm like, interesting.
Cool, man.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, but as I'm editing a lot of times, you will say something hilarious and then I'll think of something to add on to your joke. And then 1 second later, me in the recording says the thing to add on to your joke. It is a weird experience.
That's hilarious. I love that.
It's weird. Yeah.
I feel like that's better than like the opposite though, where you realize you have like the perfect funny repartee response and you're like, do I just like record that now and slide it in without anybody?
I also have that experience every once in a while. So they're just about to kiss. They're a hair breadth away from kissing. And then they hear, "Oi, Lachlan, where are you, mate?" And Saint is coming in. So they like jump apart. But that means that she stumbles a little bit over a recliner that's baffling to me.
Lounge chair thing.
A lounge chair is better, yep. And then he like goes to...
I love the idea of just a lazy boy in the garden.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I was just like, this is really weird in my head. Anyway, so then he grabs her, but that means that they both fall in the other direction. And then he's on top of her.
No. Very importantly, he's not on top of her.
Oh.
She's on top of him. My favorite microtrope where he like realized they were falling and like got himself under her to like protect her.
Yeah.
And so she's
and
there.
And then he flips her on top.
I have a question for you, Mel.
What?
She's on top of him. And it's made very abundantly clear through text. It is impossible for her to get up from off of him without hard grinding that pussy.
Yeah.
All up on that rock hard erection.
Relatable content. You know what I mean?
Is it? Is that relatable content for you?
I'll go there with Nana Malone.
Okay. All right. You know what? That's okay. Because like when I was listening to it and because I was just like bebopping around listening, doopy doopy doop doop. And then like that scene started and I like clocked in and I was like, wait, what? And so I like backed up like a minute and I like re-listened to it all. And she's like, it was impossible for me not to grind against him. And then when I did grind against him while I was trying to get up, I couldn't help but moan. And then he like grabbed my, and I was just like, this is very romance novel coded. Also, I've never had that problem. You know what I mean? Like,
here's the thing. I think it's hilarious to picture this 22-year-old, like basically Olympic athlete having my 37-year-old knees and having to be like get momentum and be like, you know? And that's why she's grinding on top of him.
Interesting. Oh.
What?
I don't know that I could get up without a little motion anymore. Fuck.
I know. We're so young in our heads, aren't we?
Yeah, no kidding. I guess it's been a while since I've been in this position, you know, without it being intentional.
Yeah. So then he flips on top of her, I think. And now he's on top of her and she's stunned. Oh my gosh, how did he do that? And then they end up having to like get up because Saint walks in and they jump apart. And they're like, nothing to see here. Everything's totally normal.
Which is
in
like
this room.
Most effective way to make it
to
clear
get my spidey senses up.
Not at all. Most effective way to make it clear that nothing was happening is tell them
nothing.
Very intently,
normal stuff,
very loudly. Nothing. Yeah. Nothing to see here. They buy it every time. These are great spies. So we do a little montage to the next test. And the next test is because she's his trainer, she's the asset. And so he has to go into this situation and basically find her and then get out.
But he doesn't know that. So for each person, it is a surprise what the like distraction is. And it might be something in addition to their trainer. It might be something totally unrelated to the trainer.
By the way, the fact that Gabriel Webb, her super protective brother, signed off on this blows my mind.
This was wild to me.
He is in a full...
Wait. Even though we find out what we find out later on, still...
Yep. When we find that out...
Still, it makes no sense because he's supposed to be this overprotective brother and nobody knows. Allegedly, nobody knows about their one-night stand, right? And so his whole setup, they've made... What?
Nobody does know about the one-night stand, except Tess.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But she questions that at this moment because of the situation that Gabe puts her in. Mm-hmm. So he goes in and they've made a carbon copy of his entire apartment.
Sorry, I forgot about your shirt until it just caught my attention again. Listener, for context, if you've been on our Instagram, there is a picture of it on there. But Mel has a shirt with a bootylicious Edward Cullen, and it says, "This is the ass of a killer, babe," or Bella.
Bella. This is the ass of a killer, Bella.
And I just every once in a while. It just, as you move and wiggle your bodice, it's Edward Cullen very seductively.
Oh, yeah.
Staring at me. It's like hair flip looking directly at us. Distracted.
So they've made a carbon copy of his apartment, and he goes in and he figures out that they are essentially recreating his black bag kidnapping that he doesn't really remember.
Did you catch the rich man moment during this, though? Where he's like looking around his apartment and he's like, did they just like grab my apartment? Oh no, that's just a recreation art piece on the wall.
That's not the original. That's on my wall.
I was like, Lachlan.
Richie rich boy, I'm telling ya. So he's finding this really, really weird because as these guys like come out of the shadows to get him, he feels like he's almost got a premonition, a sense of where they're going to be. And so he is bopping them down all over the place. Bop, bop, bop. And he hates the apartment because it smells wrong. It's been covered in this sweet, flowery perfume.
Wolf shifter coated.
I know. I could not be with this person. I would be so worried all the time about how I smelled.
I just have so many questions because I don't know that there's a single person in the world that if I smelled something, I would be like, I'm thinking of this specific, people I've been with for years. You would think that I would know that smell, right? I don't even recognize my own deodorant smell. But granted, apparently I'm nose blind because like I go to the fucking store every time and I'm like, is this the right one? Sabrina, you've been wearing the same deodorant since you had your Teen Wolf obsession at 17 years old. You have been wearing Wolf Thorn for 14 years. You know what it smells like. And I'm like, every single time I like pop it up, I'm like, oh, that is a nice smell. What?
You know what, though? I will say that anytime Michael sporadically puts on his cologne that, you know, he's had the bottle for 15 years or whatever, and it lives under the sink. And so for special occasions, sometimes he'll put that on. And I realize that, like, I smell him and I'm immediately like, new relationship. That's I just like get transported back to like when we first started dating because he wore cologne for me then.
All right, listener, you just got a hot tip on how to bring that NRE back in.
Yeah.
Was he? I'll bet he was wearing that the night that Magic Mike XXL didn't do the job.
I bet He was definitely wearing it at our wedding, and he was definitely wearing it at our engagement. All of like the big moments he puts on this one cologne. I couldn't even tell you what the brand is. I don't know. But ooh wee, he puts it on and I'm like, ooh, Michael. Let me just rub up on you a little bit.
That is so cute though.
Yeah.
I love that. Anyway.
So wait, my other thing is, it's wild to me that any spy in the fucking world would have a signature scent. Because this is a special perfume that her mom, who was also a spy, had formulated for her, and she's down to like the last drops. And once it's gone, it's gone. She hasn't been able to find a perfumery that can replicate it accurately.
Because the diary, this is just important for a later listener, because the diary that she thinks the perfume, like, blah-de-blah, like the recipe is missing, and it must have been given away after her mother's death or something.
Sold with the rest of the library.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
rich people problems.
This is wild to me. How can a spy have a signature scent when your whole deal is like, I sneak and I change personalities?
Especially because apparently it is a noticeable enough scent that everybody in the book fucking comments on.
Everybody knows
they're like,
about it.
They're like, you smell real nice. And it's like, ma'am, if you...
What is that? Roses, vanilla, and what's that last thing?
What's that last
Nobody
thing?
ever knows.
Rosehip, bergamot.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Yeah.
Anyway, so it's nutty to me. But his apartment smells wrong to him because it doesn't smell like her. That's the subtext. And so as he's going through, he opens this closet door.
It's covered.
And Saffron is crumpled in the bottom, only in her bra and underwear, tranked into oblivion.
Gabriel Webb.
Gabriel, what are you doing?
I need you to pick a lane, bud, okay?
Right?
Like, you either get to be super duper protective of your sister, or you can have her tranked half naked and left in a situation like
left
this.
In a sexy man's grasp.
You just had to let one of your spy recruits go because he wanted to sexually assault her. Like,
yeah.
Sir.
And we also found out about another guy who was sent packing because he was trying to date other recruits. Like, Gabe, is that part of like the challenge, do you think? Like, she's extra distracting because her titties are out?
Gabriel, you're supposed to be like big spy man. You haven't noticed that he looks at her like that fucking Courage the Cowardly Dog scene where like the human turns into a rotisserie chip. Every fucking scene from Cartoon Network in the early 2000s has an episode like that. Like, sir.
That is exactly the look he gives her all the time. And, spoiler alert, we find out that he does know the whole time that they're attracted to each other and they're probably fooling around. Like, what is happening right now? Anyway, she's in her knickers only, okay? And he's got her, and he's, popping these men all over the place.
You're really getting into the Brit in this, aren't you?
I'm a red coat now. So he does great. He gets her out of there. He passes the test. But wait, no. Once they're in there, she does kind of come to a little bit, and she's like, "Why are we in your flat, Lachlan? Why are we in your flat?" And he's like, "What? How do you know what my flat looks like?" And she goes, "I'm sorry, I left." And then passes out again. So now he's like, what the actual fuck? And she lies to him when he tries to clarify it with her in medbay later.
He's like, how do you know my house? And she's like, I
don't know what you're talking about. I was so loopy. It was so loopy over there,
Yeah. And so we're just going to zippy zap into this because we're getting to like the meat and potatoes of this book.
Yeah.
So they get sent into the field as fake newly married couple to go get this big baddie Massimo. By the way, I almost just called him Georg. His name's not Georg. It's Gabe.
Georg? What kind of monster romance are you reading?
Georg is like the German version of George.
Georg is? I've never heard
Georg.
that. Oh,
Well, that's how it's pronounced. That's how I've always known it to be pronounced. Anyway, I don't even know what made me think of it, but there's this
where did that
meme
even come from?
I couldn't even tell you how I dolphined my way here. This is not a Titanic situation, okay? What is it with these dolphining and spy romances? Because Titanic happened in Spy Master. Anyway, no, there's this meme where it's like average person, like statistic that average person eats like 5 spiders in lifetime is incorrect. Georg eats 10,000 spiders every single night. He's an outlier and should not be counted. You've never heard that meme?
No.
Never seen the Georg meme and the spiders? No. It's used about a lot of things. It's not just, it's like, this is a statistical outlier and it should not be counted. People learn statistics because of this meme. They didn't understand. They didn't understand what an outlier was. Like, I was there at the birth of this meme on Tumblr, and like people were like, "Oh my god!"
And that's how they studied the bell curve.
I understand statistics for the first time. Like, I never understood it in class, but like, okay, I get it. That's what a statistical outlier is. Okay, I got it.
That's incredible.
But anyway, yeah, no idea how I got there. Anyway, so they're after this big baddie Massimo.
Yeah.
Something.
And one of the biggest conflicts as far as Saffron is concerned is that Gabe...
Listener, if you understood how I got to Georg, please message us, because it's going to fucking bother me now. Continue.
You're going to think you're the only one. You're just lonely in the corner over there until listener comes out of the shadows and says, I know that meme too. I understood. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I believe that a lot of them, based on the reactions we've had when I talk about me being a tumbly poo, like,
yes.
I'm not like, I know that there are people out there that whether or not you're on Tumblr, you know what meme I'm talking about. It's gotta be that it's just, they both start with gay. It's Gabe and Georg.
Probably, yeah. That's probably where you got it. Yeah. Anyway, so one of the biggest conflicts as far as Saffron is concerned is that Gabe is so protective that he won't put her into the field as a field agent. And so she's like the bestest trained and the mostest top of her class. And she gives everybody a competence boner.
The more we learned about Gabe not letting her in the field as this book progressed, the angrier I got. I was it's like, wild. Gabriel fucking Webb.
And how...
His last name is Webb. Georg ate spiders. Oh. That's where it came from.
the Gabe and Georg, phonetic
I promise
relations.
I promise you it's not that. Because it just happened again. The first time it happened too fast for me to catch it, but it just happened again. Okay.
Oh my god. I love your brain.
Ooh, boy. It's a ride.
Yeah. So because of this, he's decided that Lachlan is going to go into the field, even though he's not fully trained, because he went to high school with this guy. And then she is going to go with him. And it's her first field assignment. They're placed as a newly married couple. Gabe. Okay. What? Oh, that didn't have to happen. And he's going as himself to catch this bad guy. And they want intel to lead them to his dad. And the dad and like his henchmen, who we meet later on, are the people that orchestrated and carried out her parents' airplane bombing death. So this is really personal to her as well. All right, HBs, this is where we're going to end for today. Come back tomorrow for the rest of the story. We're going to jump right back in with their very first field mission. And to give you a preview, they are going to need to prove their newlywed status. So get stoked. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomespodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you tomorrow.